In a forgotten village nestled between dry hills and dying fields, lived a boy named Jalal. He was only 12 years old but carried the weight of 100 silent storms in his heart. Orphaned young, he was raised by his blind grandmother, whom he lovingly called Dodi Amma. Their home was a small mud hut on the edge of the village, where wind crept through the cracks, and the nights were colder than they should be. The village had suffered for years. A long drought had stolen the life from the land. The fields were bare. The animals were thin. And the old village well, once the heart of the community, had dried up 10 years ago. Most villagers had given up hope. Some had left. Others had learned to live without dreams. But Jalal was different. Every morning, before the sun rose, he would walk to that old well with a rusted bucket. He knew there was no water, but he still whispered his wishes into it. Not for wealth, not for food, but for his grandmother. Please, let her see again. Just once he would murmur into the dry, hollow space. The villagers laughed at him. They called him a fool, a dreamer, a child lost in stories. But Jalal never argued. He simply smiled, touched the stone of the well, and walked back, believing, somehow, that it was listening. One day, he saw a girl crying near the well. It was Zara, the daughter of the richest man in the village. Her puppy had run into the forest and hadn't come back. Jalal, with his calm, strange kindness, said, "Wish into the well. It helps if you believe." Though unsure, she closed her eyes and whispered into the stone. The next morning, her puppy returned, muddy and tired, but safe. Zara told everyone. And suddenly, the villagers began returning to the well. Not for water, but to whisper. A man whose son had stopped speaking asked the well for help. Days later, the child said his first words in years. A woman prayed for rain, and the skies opened within a week. One by one, the dry hearts of the people began to bloom again. But Jalal never asked for anything new. Every time he came, he made only one wish, that his Dodi could see. Then came the night of the storm. The sky turned black. Thunder rolled like drums of war. Lightning lit the mountains. The villagers ran to hide. Roofs cracked, fields trembled, animals screamed. And Jalal, he ran to the well. Soaked in the cold rain, he knelt beside it, his hands trembling. And he cried out, not in a whisper this time, but with his whole soul. "Take my eyes if you must. But please, please, save her. Save them all." In that moment, lightning struck the edge of the well. The earth shook. And silence fell. When morning came, the village was untouched. No homes destroyed. No lives lost. It was as if the storm had been a dream. But Jalal was found unconscious near the well, his eyes open yet seeing nothing. He had gone blind. And that same morning, his Dodi opened her eyes. After 20 years of darkness, she saw the world again, the light, the sky, the face of the boy who gave up everything for her. She wept, holding his face in her shaking hands. "Why?" she whispered. Why would you do this, my son? Jalal smiled, blind but full of light. Now you can see the world again, Dodi. I've seen enough beauty for both of us. The village changed that day. The chief, once proud and cold, stood before the people and said, "He is richer than any of us. He gave us back hope. And he asked for nothing." Zara, deeply moved, began a charity in Jalal's name, Jalal's Wish, to help blind children receive treatment across the country. And the well, it never gave water again. But people still came not for miracles, but to remember the boy who believed. Jalal lived his whole life in that village, his sight gone, but his heart full. People would come to him for advice, for comfort, for guidance. He became a light, a quiet star in the middle of nowhere. And long after he was gone, children were told the story of the boy who spoke to a dry well and made it overflow with kindness. Moral: true love doesn't wait for a miracle. It becomes one. When you give selflessly, even the universe listens. Orphaned, a child whose parents have died. Drought, a long period without rain, causing land and crops to dry up. Whisper, to speak very softly, almost like a breath. Dreamer, a person who imagines or believes in things that seem impossible. Unconscious, not awake, without awareness. Soaked, completely wet, drenched with water. Trembling, shaking because of fear, cold, or strong feelings. Miracle, an extraordinary event that seems impossible but happens, often seen as divine. Bloom, to grow or flourish, when flowers open beautifully. Selflessly, doing something for others without thinking of yourself. Guidance, help or advice given to someone to make the right choice. Charity, an organization that helps people in need. Sacrifice, to give up something valuable for the sake of someone else. Hollow, empty inside, without substance.
If you like my video, kindly like, share and subscribe. Stay tuned for next story. Thank you for watching, guys.